When I was a kid, I loved to sing songs at church. And one of the songs we would sing, I remember especially at VBS, was 12 Men Went to Spy on Canaan. You remember that song? 12 men went to spy on Canaan, 10 were bad and 2 were good. And you'd kind of put your fingers around this and kind of give yourself the spy glasses. And I'm even having trouble doing it today. But I could do it as a kid. But that story is a powerful story. I've always loved that story about Joshua and Caleb being the two spies that said, we really believe God's calling us to go take the promised land, while the 10 other spies gave a bad report, didn't want to do it. Joshua and Caleb had vision. They had this clear mental image of a preferable future that God had provided them, that now was the time to take this promised land. Now was the time to go and do exactly what God had called them to do. God gave them this picture. Well, in Joshua chapter 14, we find that this is finally the time where they're crossing the Jordan River. They're getting ready to take possession of the land. And Joshua is now 40 years older, and so's Caleb. Caleb is now 85 years old. And Caleb comes up to Joshua and says, I'm ready to take this land. I'm ready to take this territory. He says, I was 40 years ago. I was ready to do it. That tells us something about vision. Sometimes that clear mental image of a preferable future, sometimes when you think about a level of vision, some people just never see it. They just never see it. Those 10 spies, they never saw it. They got overwhelmed by the fear of the giants in the land, and so they gave a bad report. We can't do this. It's impossible. We're like grasshoppers in their sight. But some people do see it, and Joshua and Caleb saw it. They believe this is something we should do. And not only did they see it, and they really believed it could happen, this picture of this future, they also said it. And Joshua said, let's go do it. We need to go take this land. So some people never see it. Some people see it. Some people say it. But eventually, Joshua and Caleb, they seized it. They went forward and took possession of the land. And that story tells us something about our vision level of living. Sometimes when God brings a vision to a church, sometimes some people don't see it. There are other times some people see it, but they're kind of hesitant. Some people actually step out and say it, that, hey, I think we should do this. But it takes more than that. It takes actually people seizing it, doing it, accomplishing it. And that's what we want to see happen in Unhindered. We want to go forward and accomplish the vision God has given us. Some people might not see it, but we see it, the leaders see it, and we're asking you, and hopefully you will see it. But it's more than seeing it. We want to say it. And that's what we're doing through the Unhindered initiative. We're saying we want to become this unhindered church. That's the preferable future. And beyond that, we want to seize it. We want to go forward and accomplish what God has called us to accomplish, to be an unhindered church in the areas of service and reach and generosity, because we're becoming unhindered people, building an unhindered place.